What a win it was, Kevin. Was there a crazier win that you've ever seen in Colts history?
Wild is undermining it, honestly.
Really, 31-28 in overtime against the Titans. First time the Colts have swept their arch rival since 2018. So much to talk about, Kevin, but if you had to pick one thing, and one thing only, what was the defining factor for the Colts in this win?
Yeah, my mind's racing a little bit just to narrow it down to one, but I'll probably go with Alec Pierce and how he started the game and how he ended the game as well. We've kind of been waiting for that, and I think to be fair to Alec, I don't think he's had the proper quarterback play to kind of accentuate his strengths. His strengths are a deep ball player and going up and making those plays down the field. And on a day, Angela, where you really struggled inside the red zone, had to settle for a lot of field goals, couldn't kind of finish off those drives, you needed some big plays. And of course, credit to Gardner Minshew for giving Pierce some chances, but that is his strength. His strength is getting behind the defense, making those plays down the field. And boy, if you didn't have both of those catches, start the game and end the game, we're talking about a totally different story tonight. Exactly.
You talk about the quarterback not being there for Alec Pierce. It was there yesterday. Quarterback Gardner Minshew was able to throw those deep threats. It wasn't completely accurate on some of the throws, especially in the first half. But boy, when it counted in overtime, 156 quarterback ranking. For those that don't know, that's really good. He's the 6th career game-winning drive that Minshew managed to lead the Colts yesterday. Kevin, what was the most impressive aspect of what he was able to do down the stretch?
Yeah, I would say just his moxie in overtime. I mean, you just saw those two throws there. There's the game winner to Michael Pittman Jr. and, of course, the deep ball to Alec Pierce to set it up. I mean, he was, in my opinion, very inconsistent throughout the game. I mean, sure, he hit Pierce early on, but there were some moments where he was a reason why. It was looking like you were going to go down there and lose that game. And, you know, typically, Angela, when you see backup quarterbacks go through that, they continue to wilt. It's kind of a deconstruction, if you will, especially on the road. And for him to show that resolve in overtime when he got on the field, they had to score. I mean, had to be at least 3 points just to keep the game going, and he obviously led them down there and scored that touchdown. The ball to Pierce, that ball right there to Michael Pittman Jr., that moxie, that resolve, you don't see that out of very many backup quarterbacks.
And just like you said, while they were down 3-0, you had to score. Some grit that Gardner Minshew showed. Grit from the special teams of the Colts as well. 2 explosive plays plus a touchdown. Kevin, how were they able to penetrate this Titans punt unit that now is coachless because the Titans special teams coordinator got fired today?
That tells you everything you need to know. You've done something very good, and they've done something very bad when you have gotten the opposing team you just played to fire their special teams coordinator. That's what happened with the Titans today. You know, Angela, I've covered this team for 12 years. I've never seen 2 block punts in a game, let alone back-to-back, let alone the ease that both of them looked like. Grant Stewart had the first one right here. He had the fumble recovery after Nick Cross had blocked it, and then Tony Brown. It was a great, switch by the Colts special teams unit, and first-year special teams coordinator Brian Mason, a Zionsville, Indiana native. That they realized after the first block punt, Tennessee would probably make an adjustment to correct that. So then the Colts said, watch this. We're going to counter that, expecting them to make that move. And you see this unit. It's a bunch of guys that are, back into the roster guys. They're obviously going nuts to have this moment. You won't find 2, I think, crazier individuals on the team than Grant Stewart right there with the hair, and then Tony Brown, who comes flying in here off the edge for that second block. Again, kind of a slogging game at that point of it, Angela. You needed a spark, you needed a jolt, and leave it to that 4th down unit to provide it.
Those special teams really did shift the momentum for the Colts. Grant Stewart said that was God giving him the touchdown. His wife had prayed for that touchdown that morning. Well, he got it. Another thing that Shaq Leonard has been praying for is a new team. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles today to finish out the season in Philly. Kevin, given what Leonard had to endure here in Indianapolis, how shocked are you that he's willing to put more on a tape that could potentially not be fantastic before the year is over?
Knowing the competitor that Shaquille Leonard is, I'm not surprised at all. But the reality that you bring up is a very fair point. I'm a little nervous how this is going to go for Shaq because Philadelphia's got no ties to him from a contractual standpoint, no emotional ties to him as a player either. If it doesn't go well, that leash is going to be very short in terms of how much playing time they are going to give Shaq Leonard. Now, obviously, there's a ton of familiarity with Nick Sirianni, former offensive coordinator here. 4 members of that Eagles staff were here in Indianapolis, and so they saw Shaquille Leonard up close, and they know the energy, it's infectious. And right now, the Eagles have a struggling linebacker group, but it was weird to hear Nick Sirianni talk about Shaq Leonard today and mention, well, he brings depth to our position. It's odd to hear that as a description for Shaq Leonard. But it's 3 straight games in prime time. The Eagles very much need to bounce back after that 49ers game. I'll be curious to see how Shaq bounces back.
That 49ers game last night, big yikes. There's no wonder they're looking for more defensive help.